In a world where the truth isn't always what it seems, four masters of real estate step forward to help put the E first in the word true. TREU. Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And now, here's the fantastic four of real estate with their host.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Thursday morning edition of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, or as we like to refer to us as TREU Radio, TREU, because we're putting education first in the truth. We're here today with our panel of wonderful, fantastic four realtors. We have Scott McAllister, Andrew Sesta, the beautiful, lovely, talented Carol Morgan. Got that mixed up there for a minute. And unfortunately, Mr. Farouk Ali is away on business, but he is with us in heart and soul. So we got a great show coming up here for you today. We're going to be talking about things that are involved with the real estate contracts, the agreements, and stuff that is basically on every contract that you want to be aware of, but other things that, depending on your specific circumstances, would be addendums that would be added to that. So we're going to be talking about those things today, and our great realtors who have had years and years and years of experience will be able to fill in a lot on the information, and maybe some of the feedback that you've gotten from some of your clients, because some of these things are kind of weird.
They're a little confusing.
Yeah.
Just to appeal to, if there's any pedantic word,
that's a big
out there,
word. What's that word?
You said addendums, and it's properly addenda.
Addenda.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Duh. Bravo. Wow. I stand corrected. What's an addendum?
An addendum is a single addenda.
I see. There you go. See that?
My Latin teacher would have been so proud of
You
me.
Yes,
learned
he
something. Exactly. Learned something. See, now I'm done today because I've learned something. I never go to bed until I learn something. So I learned something. So I'm done for the day. See you later, guys. Well, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to TREURadio.com. And if you go to TREURadio.com right now, TREURadio.com, you can actually see us live in the studio. You can chat with us in our chat room if you have any questions or about the topic that we're speaking of, or any topics regarding real estate, buying, selling, investing in real estate. You can go to TREURadio.com, kind of see what we're going through here in the studio, and just kind of be there with us and be a part of the show. So if you'd like to call into the station and ask any questions, maybe you're not shy like some folks are that like to use the chat room, give us a call, 772-220-9788. That's 220-9788. So some of the topics we're going to be talking about today that are on just about every contract that are out there. Actually, they should be on every contract. Radon gas is one, right?
That's right.
And the reason, it's huge.
Well, it's not so huge down here in Florida, but it's huge in the north.
Yeah.
Radon gas is a gas that permeates out of the ground, mainly in clay.
Right, from the uranium deposits that break down, right?
Right. Our biggest source of radon gas here in Florida is in our granite countertops.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Because the stone is it's a supply and demand. So there's such a great demand for granite now. They're harvesting these big rocks, these boulders out of the ground. They haven't had time to be out of the ground to air themselves out for the gas to permeate out. So when they cut them, the gas is still in them. And it permeates in our house.
And granite is actually naturally lightly radioactive.
Right.
Wonderful.
If you go to like the Capitol building, which is all built out of granite with a Geiger counter, it actually shows a higher background radiation than everywhere around it. Now it's still within the safety zones.
Right.
But a lot of people don't know that it's naturally radioactive.
Is that why my dog kind of looking funny after quite a few years of radioactivity?
Yeah. See, if you're in the north, they have a lot of sump pumps up north, which we don't have here. And the sump pumps, the gas will permeate out of the sump pumps into the house. So now they have them so that they have a mitigation that they do for them.
Okay.
And it really totally seals off that whole sump pump so that there's no chance of any gas coming out.
Wow. Now, I know over Willoughby Cove, where I live, they actually had big issues with radon gas. In fact, all the first floor apartments, they actually had a company come in and put radon sensors on the floor and also put ventilation. So they came in, they cut ceilings out, put ventilation fans in, and vented them on all the first floor apartments. So there was like a huge. It was. I mean, I lived in the down floor, so I know that it was there. But yeah, they put these little. They almost look like a thermometer on the wall with a little U-shaped thing that sensed the amount, and then what it would do is it would turn the fan on and off based on that sensor. But they put like little sensors in there for a couple days, and then took them out, and then came back and put the fans in, and they came back and put the sensors in again, and they were periodically checking it. So there, somebody one either said something, or somebody had an issue with it, and because obviously, I mean, I can't imagine a company doing something like that just because.
I wonder if it's the fill that they put in when they built those.
Yeah, because and a lot of it, if with the foundation cracks, doing some research on that, with foundation cracks, and that's where that stuff starts seeping up and coming through. But you don't hear a lot about it. But obviously, it has to be a big consideration if it's on a contract standard. It is. Yeah, and it's actually very, very, in the wrong doses, it could be extremely lethal.
I haven't, in the years that I've been doing this, I've never dealt with the radon gas situation down here.
No, me either. No,
I'm not down here, but I did up north.
Yeah. Much more frequently, the things that are built into the contract that we're dealing with are like the lead-based paint.
Exactly, which is another big one.
Because obviously a lot of homes that were built before 1978. Now that's something that we encounter quite often.
Right. Yeah, because there are a lot, especially I would think down here in the Stewart, Hope Sound, Martin County area, it's very heritage area. There's a lot of older homes.
Sure. Absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, half of their age is probably 78.
Yeah.
And the other biggest issue here is the mold.
That's ever going.
Now, are you noticing that more in newer homes or older homes?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Well, I think here's what I'm finding why you're getting mold in the houses today. I don't know what the heck's wrong with these builders down here today, but they don't put gutters on the houses. So what happens is, and I just had one up in Port St. Lucie that this happened to, the water runs down off of the roof and it comes in, it seeps at the concrete level by the house.
Yep.
And it seeps in, and it comes
right
in
in
that
the foundation.
way. In the foundation. So you'll see along your baseboards and stuff, you'll see where the paint and stuff is peeled and the drywall is starting to peel. That's mold, guys, and the biggest part is because the houses don't have gutters. The biggest way you can get rid of water around your house would be to put gutters on, and it's not that expensive.
No, it's not that expensive at all.
No, it's not, and that's one. And you have to have those things. You have to have moisture. You have to have a food source and a dark spot for mold to grow.
Right.
So you get rid of one of those three, and it's going to stop. And one of the other big things is on the newer homes, is they are building they build the houses fairly quick. Even though we're not in a rush, it rains. Okay, the wood and stuff gets a little moist. Okay, what do? They start building the frames, the foundations, the trusses. That wood is still moist. Then what do? Next day, guy comes in, puts drywall up, puts insulation up. Wood's still deeply, it's moist. Well, what happens? You close that up. Now you have the moisture, you have the dark spot, then you have the particulates and stuff. So mold will start growing in the wall.
And one thing that I look for now that I had never even thought of, and you brought it up a few weeks ago when you were talking about like overpowered air conditioners,
right?
And some of these newer developments where they just buy a whole bunch of these, this 5,000 unit, and some of the smaller, they're like, okay, this is a smaller home, but they still put the overpowered air conditioner in there. And I've looked around and you see the vents, and you actually see mold coming around the vents and stuff
because they're oversized. I just actually did an engineering job for a large condo complex up in Orlando. There's 106 condos. So me doing what I do, I know that if it's 3 stories and I got a house that's on the 3rd floor outside corner that's got 3 exposed walls, that's going to have a lot more load on it than the one that's on the 2nd floor in the middle.
Right.
That makes sense.
Every single condo was letter C. It didn't matter where letter C condo was. 1st floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor, middle side, same tonnage air conditioning system. And that's what they do.
Because it's just easier for them.
It is. It's easier. I mean, but when I was doing a place up in Indian River Estates in Vero Beach, they redid everything. And so we started individually doing those. And that's what we found out, is that they were different. They were all different. So they wanted me to do every single one individually.
And that's one of the reasons, like things like that and electricity and a lot are one of the reasons that even with new construction, I recommend our buyers get an inspection. And
Yes.
we've had people say, why should I get an inspection? It's warranted. It's all. There are things we found, electrical issues. We found issues with that. I mean, we found a number of things, and then we went right to the builder and said, you need to remedy these right now.
Yeah. And some of them aren't always as obvious, and you might have been a realtor for 30 years, but still, if some things aren't quite as obvious, but if you're a trained inspector, absolutely it helps with stuff like that.
Yes.
So now, is anything to do with mold on the contracts?
There's a mold, telling people there's a mold disclosure. There's a few disclosures that are built into the FAR bar contracts.
Right.
First of all, there's
Now,
a
when you
couple
say
of
FAR
different-
bar,
there's-
for our listeners, what's a FAR bar?
Yeah, there's two different contracts that normally. Well, there's several different contracts, but two that are most widely used as a FAR contract is Florida Association of Realtors.
Uh-huh.
Standard contract.
Okay.
And FAR Bar is the Florida Association of Realtors, along with the Florida Bar.
Okay.
The attorneys have come up with their version. So there's two different versions, and they're both widely used. Some like to use one, some like to use others. Some offices prefer one over the other, and agents as well. And there's a few differences with them. Some are, one is in calendar days. When you're
Okay.
calculating days, one is not. One is in just standard business days.
Okay.
So there's a few difference, but a lot of people don't read. They're fill in the blank type, contracts. So a lot of realtors just kind of fill in the blanks, but the last 4, 5, 6 pages are all standard legalese. And a lot of times an agent say, well, those are all just legalese. Don't even worry about that. It's just standard.
Don't even worry
But
about
in those standard, there's language, dictating what happens if this, if there's a title defect, that kind of stuff. So it touches on, the radon gas and all that kind of stuff. But there's also separate addenda that you have to give to your client if you want to specify, a certain issue with, mold or a defective drywall.
Okay, so those are
kind
not
of things.
necessarily standard of the FAR bar contract,
Right.
but they're additions.
Those are additions,
The addendums,
right,
okay.
additional,
And
additional
they're
add-ons.
not telling the client that there is mold there or
Right.
that there's radon
They're making
gas.
them aware of the
It's
potential.
making them aware that there's a possibility.
And there's
Okay.
so many disclosures now, and I mean, at any given closing, you can tell that. I did one the other day. It was a first and a second mortgage. I haven't seen that in a while, but there was 2 packages.
Right.
I mean, it was like 600 pages,
Oh my gosh.
and it was so redundant because the title company would say, and this one says they're not responsible for this, and then 20 pages later, and this one says the same thing the other one said. They're not responsible
Yeah.
for that. So it's like disclosure after disclosure after disclosure.
Every lawsuit creates a new disclosure.
Yeah, so it's just, some companies require more than others.
Right.
We've gotten away from some of the specifics. We have like a general one that has everything written on there that
Right.
we have our buyers complete. So, but it's just making aware. Buyer beware, beware
yeah.
of what, the possibilities are. Like we said, radon gas isn't as big here, but just letting people know that, you may want to check for those things. And the good home inspectors know what areas to look for certain things as well. What areas, or if it's in a flood zone, different things to look for.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and every time they do, like you said, there's a lawsuit. You come up with a new one. The only one that I'm glad they haven't added, and there was a lawsuit of, I think in North Carolina a few years ago, was for a haunted house. It was not disclosed that the house was haunted, and they tried to sue. So,
Oh, that's
We
good.
had this comment.
Hang on to that because
Yeah.
we're going to talk about
Yeah,
that when
'cause
we
have
come
some
back.
controversy on that.
Yeah, when we come back, we're going to talk about that. I got a little joke that goes with that. So, all right, well, we're going to take our first quick break and hear from some of our partners and sponsors that help keep the show going. You're listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, TREURadio.com. We'll be right back.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Are you selling your home, wondering how you're ever going to move all your belongings? Well, don't wonder. Call the trusted moving professionals from Mr. Small Move. Their staff of full-time movers are ready to take the stress out of your next move. Mr. Small Move will safely pack, move, then place and assemble your belongings at your new location. So if you're moving, call the trusted professionals at Mr. Small Move. For a free estimate, call 283-5540. That's 772-283-5540 for Mr. Small Move. Dramatic change invites invigorating new energy. Let Decorating Den Interiors create a dramatic change in your home's decor. They'll create a look that's important to you. Begin your home's gorgeous transformation by calling Decorating Den Interiors on the Treasure Coast at 692-8589. Visit their waterfront design studios on Southeast Osceola Street, downtown Stuart, and online at stewartdecorator.com. Every 13 seconds, a home intrusion is committed in the United States, with property loss totals in the billions. Take action today to prevent it from happening to you with ADT, protecting homes and businesses for more than 136 years. Protect Security is your authorized ADT dealer on the Treasure Coast. Call Richard Stratman today at 772-708-2691. Protect Security and ADT, offering peace of mind security 24/7. Call today, Protect Security, 708-2691. Has a recent foreclosure, bankruptcy, or short sale spoiled your credit? Fidelity Funding may be able to help. Their hometown lenders are specially trained to work with your credit history to find the perfect loan program and get you back on track. Even if credit is no problem, Fidelity Funding offers many dynamic loan programs. Call Fidelity Funding on the Treasure Coast at 772-237-5211. They work day in and out with realtors in your community to find you the house you love. Call 237-5211 for Fidelity Funding. When you buy a home without a housemaster inspection, things can break down without warning. When things break down without warning, you get angry. When you get angry, you may commit acts of random violence. When you commit acts of random violence, you could do hard time. Don't do hard time. Call Housemaster for your home inspection needs. 772-336-2111, or visit them on the web, stlucy.housemaster.com. You're listening to WSTU Stuart.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. We're here with our realtors this morning, Carol Morgan, Andrew Sesta, Scott McAllister, and Mr. Farouk Ali is out and about working hard for the money.
He's making the money while
Yeah, we're here.
He's not stupid.
We're paying the money.
We're going to do the Flashdance song for him. No, that's not Flashdance. What's the working hard? She was working hard for the money.
I forget what movie that was from. Some 80s.
Some 80s.
It's an 80s movie.
How would you know that?
Goes to show you what I watch. All right, so we're back here with Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, TREURadio.com. Do not forget to like us on Facebook at Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, and also Twitter. And now, you know what? Something I realized today is because we have a TREU Radio at gmail.com account, people have been trying to connect with us on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't create a TREU Radio at gmail.com LinkedIn account. I put it to my Comfort Time Live, which is through on the LinkedIn. So I got a couple people wanting to join with us on LinkedIn. So I'm going to have to go and create a specific LinkedIn account just for TREURadio.com.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people go, they just want to go with the email.
Mm-hmm.
And so they invite you through the email address.
Right.
So I think I need to go ahead and do that and do specifically the LinkedIn account for TREU Radio only. And I thought I did, so I got to go check. For some reason, I thought I
That's
already.
one of the social sites I don't do enough with.
Yeah, me either. Mine, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's so much out there.
Yeah, I know.
There really is.
There's not enough hours in a day.
No,
I know.
there's not. I mean, that's a full-time job. I mean, we did Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and.
But Facebook is big right now.
Yeah.
Really, really big. That kind of took ever since the Craigslist
Craigslist,
crashed
Yeah.
on us last year. Facebook has really picked up, and it's funny because you almost feel like you're getting stalked now on Facebook. Have you realized that?
Oh yeah.
Like you'll be online searching. Like, I'm getting married here in a few weeks, and we're searching for wedding stuff. And lo and behold, the next day, whatever we searched for on Amazon is in my newsfeed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that picture of that item, and it's like,
How
wow.
funny is
Yeah,
that?
they're getting.
I mean, you're being
tricky with
watched,
that.
like,
Yeah.
totally. It's like, damn,
Everything
I wish
you
I could
do.
figure out a system of doing that with buyers and sellers. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Oh, you looked at the house, boom, now it's here, now it's there. You know, it's like, wow, it's amazing. But
That's funny. All right, well, we're going to do our segment as we do every week, Hot Around Town. So we're going to start with Mr. Scott McAllister. Scott, what's hot around town?
Well, we just our team just moved into the Palm City office, which
That's
is a
fine.
branch office of
Very
our
nice.
Treasure Coast office here. Gorgeous new office. It was in an old bank building, and the owner of our franchise bought the whole place and really did it up. And
Yeah, and that's right off of
Matheson and the
Martin Downs.
Yeah,
Martin Downs
yeah.
Boulevard, right there on the corner. Okay.
And it's great. He's putting up, big screens everywhere. So it's going to be kind of like, he wants it to be like an Apple store for real estate where you come in. But one of the big things that we're doing that's a bit hot in Palm City right now is new construction. And tonight we're actually all going to Riverbend for Brokers Open. Riverbend is a new Standard Pacific construction area. It's a 600,000 to 1.2 million. They have 42 lots, about half of them on the water, and we're really excited about it. So it's a great opportunity if people are looking into that kind of higher end Palm City.
Right.
Definitely give one of us a call, and we'd love to bring you into that community. A lot of people go to new construction by themselves.
Right.
And they don't bring a realtor because they think, well, these people just signed me up. But I always think it's good to have an advocate on your side,
Right.
and it costs you nothing to have a realtor go
That's
with
true.
you.
Sure.
I mean, they're the ones paying the commission.
Yeah.
So it's good to have somebody on your side, just, watching out for your best interests.
and if
because-
somebody wanted to contact you, Scott,
Well, that number would be 772-444-2590.
there you
Ah, he's got it
go.
memorized.
Bravo.
You're not messing with Scott no more.
No. I was prepared this week.
Oh, man, Scott's got it on now.
All right, again, ladies and gentlemen, that's 772-444-2590. And you can give a call. And if you'd like to go to that event this evening, I'll be more than welcome to give them one of the realtors a call. You were going to say something, Andrew?
No, I was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's that's pretty interesting. And now, where exactly is that located?
It's on kind of the north end of Palm City.
Okay, north.
If you actually take what's that, the side road?
Maps?
714?
Yeah, no, maps. That's
Maps
it. You
are-
take it
Oh,
all the way, like, to where it just ends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's right back in that
That's right.
area.
It's kind of hard to find. You would not just drive by it.
Okay. All right. Well, Carol, what's hot around town for you? Besides your new haircut.
Yeah, I was at the hair show this weekend. We
Yeah,
had a
you guys
great-
got to go on
had a great
TREURadio.com
time.
to see Carol's new hairdo.
Yeah, I was very lucky to be chosen as a model for one of the hairdressers, so it was exciting. It was
It's
fun.
not luck. It's just what you look like. That's all.
Well, when you wear short hair, I guess they look for people who do because that's what they were cutting this week, and it was fun. There was probably a couple 100,000 people there. It was a great time. Great
Nice,
time.
nice.
But I've been busy. I just took a new listing yesterday, an absolutely gorgeous house in an equestrian community in Foxwood, off of Pratt Whitney near the South Fork
Yeah,
High
wow,
School.
that's out west there. Yeah, that's a nice
This
little
house
area.
sits in the woods. It literally is in the woods. Has the horse trails up in the back.
Wow.
It's
How
on
many
a
acres?
lake, 2 acres. It's on the lake. Has a pool. It's 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. Absolutely has Mexican tile through the main part of the house. Actually has 2 master suites in it.
Nice.
Wow.
So it's beautiful. I mean, the setting is amazing. There are peacocks out there. There's
Wow.
fox running. There's
Yeah, that is gorgeous. You've you do a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff out there, so you've been there, Scott.
No, in fact, I'm kind of thinking because Jane and Chrysula took out some customers yesterday that I think might be perfect for that. So
Be
we'll,
great.
wow,
we'll
Be
send them
great.
over.
So just
Yeah.
remember, we need to have 24-hour notice on this because they have
Right.
some dogs.
Well, what's
So
the price on that?
$449.
Wow, that's great.
That's not bad. And how many acres?
It's 2 acres.
Nice.
That is a good price.
It is a great price.
Yes,
It's
definitely.
just a hot house on the market right now, and it'll be hitting the MLS today. So
Wonderful.
I
Awesome.
expect that a lot of
good.
activity.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Great
Awesome.
listening.
Well, Mr. Sesta, what's hot around town for you besides your death in a couple weeks? I mean, your marriage in a couple weeks.
Oh, God, wow. You know, my fiance is Colombian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you better be careful
So
when you
I'm
walk
gonna have
out
a Colombian
that door
necktie
today.
next week.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's pretty
Awesome.
exciting.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man. Hot around town. Maydell got a house.
All right.
Finally
Congratulations.
got a house.
A happy
Nice-
ending.
Nice
Nice.
3-bedroom, 2-bath. So we finally got it under contract, and she was so excited the next morning I call her up and I'm like, okay, so now we have to do the home inspection. Were you going to do this? She goes, oh, I already have that scheduled. Be there at 1 o'clock. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, no problem. This is good.
You educated her really well.
Yeah, right. So, well, she's on top of things, and so we go out there for the home inspection. Lo and behold, there's no water. So I'm like, wow. But anyway, so we're working with a water issue because the water's on for the city, but it's not going to the house. There must be an issue with the valve.
Right.
And that happens in these houses because they're vacant for so many years that those valves just freeze shut.
Right.
If there's nothing
Now it
going
was
through
for foreclosure short sale.
Yep, she picked up a foreclosure,
Nice.
great deal, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in the area she wanted, the zip
Beautiful.
code she wanted. So, like we said, everything happens for a reason, and I think she's going to be happy now. We just got to get through the closing process.
No problem.
So I'm real excited about that, and I know she is and her whole family. So thank you everyone for helping us out. I had a lot of realtors call in and sending properties, and people really pitching in to help us get them home.
And those are people that were listening to the show?
Listening to the show, a lot of Facebook. I do a lot
Wonderful.
of social media and stuff like that.
Excellent.
And that kind of stuff. So appreciate everyone's help.
Awesome. Well, that
Yeah.
is some great stuff. Well, I got just a little quick tidbit. We were talking about energy in homes and mold and things like that. I actually had an emergency job yesterday from a large contractor in Vero Beach that they built a home, and midway through the construction, the homeowner changed some insulation values in windows, upgraded the windows. Well, nobody at that point in time thought to relook at the air conditioning system. Halfway through, they had air handlers set and everything like that. So all of a sudden, they get down to inspection time, and a red flag goes up. Just by changing the insulation from a R30 in the ceiling to an R20 Icynene, okay, which you think, okay, R30, R20, okay, that would actually be less. But no, because it's in the roof deck, it actually reduces the load on the ductwork. Well, then the other part was the windows were almost twice as efficient as the original windows that they had used. Over 1.5 tons of air conditioning different in this house.
Wow.
So if they had left the home the way it was, if the red flag didn't go up, guaranteed in 6 months to a year that house would have mold in it.
Right.
Because of being that largely oversized. Because when we size the air conditioning systems, it's sized for, in this area, it's sized for a 91-degree day with everything running in the house. Every stove, refrigerator, every person. Well, how often is it 91, 92 degrees outside where you're running every refrigerator, every stove, every hairdryer, every TV, everybody's in the house? Well, that's what it's for. Well, when do you throw parties? You typically don't throw parties in the middle of the day. You usually throw the parties in the evening or something like that. So on top of that, unit's even more oversized. So it would have been bigger. So I got an emergency call like 9 o'clock yesterday morning. I'm like, Tom, we got inspectors standing here. We need you to redo everything for us. And we redid it right there on the spot. I redid it for him, and it came out to over 1.5 tons of air conditioning less.
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot.
And when it came to the energy code, it reduced the energy consumption of the house dramatically.
Wow.
So that's kind of what's hot around town. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're building a house or you're thinking about renovations, you really need to consider those things.
And even if, because I notice a lot of times when people are changing out AC units, Tom,
Right.
They just go by whatever was there before.
Yep.
And there's a lot of difference
They're
from,
huge.
these houses that were built, 15, 20 years ago, or
Huge.
AC units that
Right.
were put in, maybe been calculated at that time, and then they've added a room, or they've enclosed something, or changed the windows, or stuff
Well, something
like
that frustrated me is, a couple years ago, it was actually, up until just recently, it was the code that if you were replacing an air conditioning system, you had to have another one of these load calcs done in your home to confirm that the size air conditioner that's in there is the right one. Well, that's been like that for a while, but now all of a sudden, recently, the state rescinded that. So now, if you're going like for like, you do not need to have a load or energy calc in order to get your permit. Which
Well, the load calc lobby did a terrible job then.
well, it was. And when you look at the code, nothing was taken away from the code. Well, there was just something minor added. Well, that gave everybody an opportunity because nobody liked doing the load calcs, and the building department hated them because everybody was manipulating them. If there was a 4-ton in there, the air conditioning companies were just manipulating it to look like there was a 4 tons what's supposed to be in there. I mean, there's a huge company down south. They had 3 people working, and all they did is the guys would go out there it's a 3-ton system there, and they would just take the loads. They had them already pre-printed. All they had to do was add the customer's name in there and just print it out. They had no clue what air conditioning size belonged in there, and they were doing 20 of these a day.
Wow.
So it's frustrating that they stopped that. I'm aggravated from my end because I see how many houses are incorrectly sized. And now that they're building homes tighter, a lot of these contractors are back to the old 400 or 500 square foot per ton. Well, that's not the case. I got 23 and 2,400 square foot homes with 3-ton air conditioning systems in them.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I mean, if you got icing in the ceiling, I got houses that have fill block insulation with an R5 foil back on the inside the concrete. Plus, they're using double pane, low E, argon filled vinyl windows that are like ridiculous. Well, the whole thing of air conditioning is if I'm not letting heat in, I don't need to take any out.
Right.
So the tighter I make that house, the less air conditioning I need. But some of these contractors they're still putting 5 and 6 tons of air
But what's the
conditioning.
advantage of them doing that, other than just making it easy?
There's really no advantage.
There
The
isn't,
problem
right?
is that they can't change their mindset.
Mindset.
And their concern is that if I don't cool the house properly, I'm going to get a phone call.
Right.
And then the other thing they do is they don't size the ducts right, because they'll go into a room and say, okay, this room right here is 12 by 12. They'll say 12 by 12, 144 square feet. I need 144 CFMs of air in that room. Well, no, not necessarily. I got a block wall that's got hardly any heat coming through it, and the other walls are completely air conditioned. I may only need 60 CFMs. Well, what they do is they size the duct for 144, but that hurts them because now they don't have enough airflow going through the rest of the
yeah.
house.
Well, that's what happens with a lot of homes. I mean, I don't know if anybody out there has ever experienced this, but I have had, and my daughter has had, where you have rooms in your home that are very hot.
Yep, hot and cold
Yeah.
spot, because that's how they size the ducts. And with what I do, my program that I have specifically sizes them based on what it needs. Now, one of the things you said, Andrew, is why do they do something like that? Well, if I'm an air conditioning contractor, where do I make more money? If I make more money on a 3-ton or a 5-ton?
That's what I'm asking. Do
You
you?
ta- Oh, absolutely. You make
Okay,
more
so
money
there's
as a
more
contractor.
profit.
Yeah, not more profit, but yeah, they would be high. Same
will be.
percentage, but different
Percent.
dollar amount. So,
Oh, right, okay.
maybe still 10%, but it's 10% of a $5,000 system
Instead of
versus
a-
10% of a $3,000
Right.
system.
Right.
Right.
So as a contractor, well, I'm going to want, but I don't want the liability, so I'm going to put fudge factor in. Well, if it's 4, I'm going to go 5 just to be safe.
Just to be safe.
Well, no.
Yeah.
No.
Or you could just do the math.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why one of the big Arthur Ruttenberg, not here in Fort Pierce, but in Vero Beach and in Martin County. Well, actually, I do all the ones down here, but the one in Vero Beach, they have contracted my company to do the loads on their homes before they send them out to bid. This way,
That makes
there's
sense.
no manipulation.
No manipulating.
Exactly. And also, they get consistent bids from their contractors. Because if I send this out to 3 contractors, well, I'm going to get 3 different size air conditioning systems. Well, let's do them beforehand. Let's put
Right.
everything the way we want, then we'll send it out to bid so we keep the bids consistent.
You know, icing is so new that probably a lot of our listeners out there really
Don't
don't
know,
know
yeah.
what that is. You want to explain that?
Yeah, actually, it's a foam filled. It's like, if you ever use the can of spray foam, basically same type of concept. But what it does is it gives a better insulation value per inch. And also for icing typically would go on the roof, not in the ceiling. So you would have your roof line, and in between the trusses, the joists of the roof line, it gets sprayed in between there. Now, the R value is still the R value. However, it's the more R value for less inches on that. But the nice thing is what that does is that actually encapsulates the attic.
Right. 'Cause
And
that
you-
attic.
Exactly.
Oh my
You
God.
don't vent the attic either when you do the icing. It's completely sealed off. What that also does is gives you energy consumption points, because if your air handler's in the attic, by code, it considers that air handler is in a conditioned area.
Right. Well, that's new. That's a new thing for the county right now.
Yeah.
Those have to be in like in a little room all their own.
Right. Now, if you have icing, it's not necessary. You don't necessarily have to have that. Code calls for it that way. But there are some houses. I'm doing a house right now for Village Architects. I'm doing it for, but huge, 5,000 square foot house, 5 air conditioning systems. But that's what they did. They designed it that every air conditioner is in its own insulated, conditioned space.
Why they ever put them in the roofs is beyond me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, some manufacturers actually started creating composite air handlers, like Train. Train built a composite air handler that doesn't sweat, and it's actually perfect for being in attics.
Because you can go in a lot of houses and people think the roof is leaking.
Right.
but
It's
you
the air
can-
conditioning,
It's
yeah.
It's the air conditioning.
You can follow the drain line a lot of times right
Exactly.
straight through.
And that's something the inspectors.
Yeah.
That's something the inspectors would end up catching. But
Right.
Well, the placement of some of those the air handlers, I mean, we have a 55 plus community that we've sold a number in, and half of the air handlers in the units are above the master bedroom. And when it goes on, you hear
Yeah.
these people are like, "You wakes me up in the middle of the night."
Yeah.
and air conditioning in construction, I hate to say it, is one of the last considerations. It really is.
And this is Florida, so it should
Yes.
kind of be an
Yeah.
important.
You know, it's a guy thing. Let me tell you. You guys, you don't think sometimes.
I mean, I'm dealing with the house right now, and
It's where you can put it for the easiest place.
you can. But it's a last thought. Like what I'm doing right now. It's like they're like, well, go ahead and design it this way, and then as we start building the house, we'll see if it'll fit.
Right.
That's what they told me. I'm like, what?
No.
Yeah.
AC's big for me. I know my house is at 73 all year round.
73?
73.
Oh, I keep mine at 78. So.
I can't.
And you know what? It's not necessarily temperature, because I know people that keep it at 78, but the humidity's low enough. You know,
Right.
so like in your house, you may keep it at 73, but you may have very high humidity, and that's what causes you to keep it that low.
Right.
I can design my houses to be at 76, 77 at 50% relative humidity. In your house, if I could control humidity better, you could actually end up turning that thermostat up to 75, 76, 77. So I hear people say that all the time. Well, I keep it at this temperature, I keep it at that temperature. But if you walk in, your humidities are probably
Right,
identical.
Well, I live in a townhouse that has all the, it's all sliders.
Yeah.
There's no windows. It's every room has a
Slider.
And the living room and my master have a double slider.
Yeah.
So it's like, welcome son. You know what I mean? It's like, come on in.
And they actually call that fenestration. You're big on words, so you probably know that
What is it
word.
called?
Fenestration. So when you're designing a house, my program, which is actually nice, actually tells me if at certain times of the day there's going to be a huge temperature difference between one side of the house and the other.
Because there's no insulation on those
Exactly.
windows.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
half the house is that way. I mean, the other half is solid concrete. So it's like solid concrete and
Right.
open windows.
Yeah, how often have you walked into that west-facing room with the giant slider and just the temperature's like 10 degrees
like walking
higher
into
in
a
that
sauna.
room? You're like, whoa.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break and hear from our wonderful sponsors and partners. You're listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. Don't forget to go to our website, TREURadio.com. We'll be right back.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Are you selling your home, wondering how you're ever going to move all your belongings? Well, don't wonder. Call the trusted moving professionals from Mr. Small Move. Their staff of full-time movers are ready to take the stress out of your next move. Mr. Small Move will safely pack, move, then place and assemble your belongings at your new location. So if you're moving, call the trusted professionals at Mr. Small Move. For a free estimate, call 283-5540. That's 772-283-5540 for Mr. Small Move. Every 13 seconds, a home intrusion is committed in the United States, with property loss totals in the billions. Take action today to prevent it from happening to you with ADT, protecting homes and businesses for more than 136 years. Protect Security is your authorized ADT dealer on the Treasure Coast. Call Richard Stratman today at 772-708-2691. Protect Security and ADT, offering peace of mind security 24/7. Call today, Protect Security, 708-2691. Has a recent foreclosure, bankruptcy, or short sale spoiled your credit? Fidelity Funding may be able to help. Their hometown lenders are specially trained to work with your credit history to find the perfect loan program and get you back on track. Even if credit is no problem, Fidelity Funding offers many dynamic loan programs. Call Fidelity Funding on the Treasure Coast at 772-237-5211. They work day in and out with realtors in your community to find you the house you love. Call 237-5211 for Fidelity Funding. Dramatic change invites invigorating new energy. Let Decorating Den Interiors create a dramatic change in your home's decor. They'll create a look that's important to you. Begin your home's gorgeous transformation by calling Decorating Den Interiors on the Treasure Coast at 692-8589. Visit their waterfront design studios on Southeast Osceola Street, downtown Stuart, and online at stewartdecorator.com. When you buy a home without a housemaster inspection, things can break down without warning. When things break down without warning, you get angry. When you get angry, you may commit acts of random violence. When you commit acts of random violence, you could do hard time. Don't do hard time. Call Housemaster for your home inspection needs. 772-336-2111, or visit them on the web, stlucy.housemaster.com. You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platania, your host. We're here with Mr. Andrew Sesta, Carol Morgan, Scott McAllister, and in heart and soul, Mr. Farouk Ali, who's off working hard for his money, shaking that moneymaker, trying to help support the family and friends that he has there. Friends, might not be a good thing, right?
Yeah,
support the rest of us.
Yeah.
We could kick back on the beach drinking Mai Tais.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Let Farouk do all the work. We're thinking about you, Farouk. All right, well, we had a question on TREURadio.com in our chat room, and that's for you folks that maybe are a little on the shy side and don't want to call into the studio. Or for you folks who want to maybe call the agents directly. And now, Scott, what's that number?
772-444-2590.
There you go.
That radio voice.
Yes.
All right, so our question from our online listener is, how much will it cost to change the septic tank system or to connect to the city? Now, Andrew, you were saying obviously depends on the city.
Well, it depends on the city, yeah. Port St. Lucie has different rules in Stewart and Palm City and all that. But in Port St. Lucie, if you have sewer lines that are on your street, you cannot replace the septic tank.
Oh, you cannot.
No, you can service it, and there's a gray area between servicing and remodeling or redoing, but you can't replace. So once that happens, you're going to have to hook up to the city sewer.
Wow, that's not that would not be a nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it depends. I mean,
That would be a crappy situation.
But boom.
Better to say that than the
I
other.
was going to say that, but
And Scott did
leave
it.
it to you. But I mean, it all depends, Tom. I've lived in a house that was at the end of the septic tank life span, and I would pay anything not to be cleaning that stuff up on the inside.
But it's probably not much difference in cost between replacing a whole entire septic tank versus.
Septic. If you have to replace septic, you're looking at probably about $12,000.
So it's cheaper for you to do the city anyway.
Well, again, speaking in Port St. Lucie, I don't know where this caller or this leads from, but Port St. Lucie, I know because we just did one. It's about $6,000 to hook up to the city sewer. And they'll come in and they'll do all the work. The good part about it is that you don't pay that all up front.
Right.
You pay a
nice.
small deposit. I think it's like $80 or $90, and then they bill you for the next 10 years on your water bill.
Okay.
And it's no interest.
Oh, that
so
helps
it's paid.
out then.
Well, the good part about that, Tom, is if you pay the $80 and you pay every month that you're there.
Right.
Say you sell the home, that's normally assumed by the new buyer. So you may not be paying all that out of pocket.
Wow.
But the $30, I think it's like $34.50 a month that it adds to your bill.
Okay.
Is all you're going to get. But the big thing that they don't tell you is the way that they bill
You mean there's things that they hide from you?
Well, they don't really tell you. Well,
Oh, and by the way, the listener is actually talking about Port St. Lucie.
Okay, so this is
Becker and Darwin area.
So this is directed toward you for sure. You're only going to need, like I said, less than $100 to get the process started. It takes 4 to 6 weeks to get going on it.
Okay.
And they'll get you connected, and it's about $34.50 a month. It's going to add to your water bill.
Oh, that's nothing.
But the thing is, if your water bill, let's just say, is $50 a month,
Right.
when they charge you for the septic, it's double of
Yes.
your water
Right.
consumption. So you're actually tripling your bill. So in other words,
Because they have to get the septic coming and going.
yeah, and for some reason you pay $50 for the water coming in and $100 for the water going out. So it's $150.
It's more dense.
Do you
It's more
understand?
dense
Right.
going out.
I guess. So that's the change. So be aware that your bill's going to go up not only to $34, but it's going to triple of what you were normally
Wow.
paying because of that.
That's where they
I'm
get you.
talking Port St. Lucie only, but it is what it is, Tom. For me, that's money well
worth-
spent.
Yeah, I think people would prefer to be hooked up to the city.
Yeah, the city water and sewer, and you don't have a problem. And they take care of, they maintain.
And they do all the work. You just call
Yes.
the city and say, "I
Yeah.
want to have this done."
They put your grinder and everything
They
in
put
for
the
you.
grinder in. They do all that work. So yeah, I mean, I lived in Port St. Lucie. I've had my house built in '88 when it was just all well and septic. The water was terrible. My clothes constantly got ruined, no matter what kind of Culligan system or
Yeah.
whatever I put. It's
It's a pain.
when
yeah.
the city water came in, I was like, yeah, I don't care what it costs,
Yeah.
just bring it.
Having to
because-
deal with the salt and
Oh,
all
man,
that
it was just
stuff.
it was just
Horrible.
a nightmare, and
Brown spots all over everything.
Yeah, it was so.
From the water.
Oh, I was kind of curious about that.
So anyway,
How do
yeah,
you
that's-
wash your clothes, sir?
Yeah, that's what you have to do. So go down to the water department there on Port St. Lucie Boulevard in Rosso. I know that they're short-staffed right now because we sat there yesterday, day before, getting
City
water
and government
turned on.
agencies, short
Yeah,
staff.
for an hour and a half to get water turned on for Maydell's.
And you were there with her
inspection.
through that.
Well, she wasn't there. We were there.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
she was still working, making that money. So.
Oh, it's awesome.
But yeah, so that's what you have to look forward to there for the person that's online.
Okay, all right. Well, there. Hopefully, a listener online got that information. If not, if you missed anything, you can go to TREURadio.com and actually listen to the archive show. About an hour or so after the show is over with, it's uploaded. But something we're talking about things and disclosures, and this is something that when I was doing some research that really, I have a, I guess you'd say a concern. Death on the property, whether it's a murder, whether it's natural causes, suicide, or whatnot, legally you do not have to disclose that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, in some of these communities, I mean, especially the elderly community.
Well, it's kind of expected. There's
Come on, what are you going to say?
I know one of the places, the place I lived in Willoughby Cove, the lady passed away.
Right.
And now the lady told me, which she didn't have to, but she told me, and she's like, well, and of course she says, well, she didn't pass away in the place, but she passed away. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, she owned it.
But that just, I don't know. I would be upset if I bought a place and
Why are you afraid the ghosts are going to come back and get you?
well, speaking of that, Scott said he had a sister, so it's like I don't legally have to tell somebody that I died in a house, but if I come back,
Yes.
then I need to say something to you.
You should have paid more money.
But that's just, and then also for certain like immune deficiency disorder, HIV or AIDS, you do not have to disclose that, which that I understand.
Right.
I mean, that I understand because there's nothing there. But that would just weird me out if I found out. And somebody here was saying that they had a house like that.
I had
that
one that
somebody-
had suicide.
That- yeah, I
Teenage
mean,
suicide.
that would weird me out. I mean, because I mean, maybe I don't know about that. That just weirds me out. That first off, I don't know if I could live in a house with somebody that had that. But for somebody not to tell me and not be legally obligated to tell me, I would have concerns with that.
There's a good a house in Amityville that we can sell you really cheap.
I would buy him super cheap. I'm not superstitious. I would be all over that. Like, sure, give me a murder house.
And then
I'll
you'd
take
see
it.
Scott running down the street butt naked. With
Oh, All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our show. We want to appreciate you listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed with Scott McAllister, Carol Morgan, and Andrew Sesta. Scott, give us that number one more time, sir.
772-444-2590.
That's it, 444-2590. If you'd like to call any of our agents and find out about anything we talked about on the show today, or perhaps you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, give them a call. And at the end of our show, as always, I like this one today from Mr. Zig Ziglar, and it's so very true. Our Zig Ziglar quote of the day: when you do more than you're paid for, eventually you'll be paid for more than you do.
Nice.
All right, I like
He's a
that one.
smart guy.
Yeah.
Where did he come up with all these things? I mean,
There's
was he in a Zen room or
and
something?
Pages and pages of quotes from this guy.
Yeah, there is.
It's absolutely amazing. So we had a great show. We had fun. We thank you for listening to us. We thank for our participants online at TREURadio.com. And we're going to be back here next Thursday with some more great topics. And we might even surprise you with a special
Come on
listing.
Facebook and give us some topics you want to hear about.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Facebook, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed on Facebook. What are you looking for? Maybe you're buying, selling, or investing in a house, and you want to get some information. Give us a call. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Until next Thursday.
Peace.